everyone, Tracy with MeatRx, and we're here today with another success story. And I have my friend Stephanie with us. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
So thank you so much for coming, and I'm so glad that we can have a chance to hear your success story and share with others so that other people can be helped. Can you begin by telling me what kind of diet, what kind of health conditions you had prior to coming to a meat-based diet?
Sure. I am a type 1 diabetic. I also have Hashimoto's disease. I have ADHD. I have scalp psoriasis, and I had IBS. So I've been following a very low carb, high protein diet since 2014 to help manage my type 1 diabetes. If you do have type 1 diabetes, please check out Dr. Bernstein's Diabetes Solution Method. It'll teach you everything you need to know. Around the same time as my diagnosis of type 1 diabetes, I also found out that I had IBS. I was having digestive issues. And so they told me that I needed to make sure I was eating low FODMAP foods, take a probiotic, and to eat lots and lots of fiber. So that's what I started doing. Food was very, very difficult to eat because I had to go through different lists to make sure that it wasn't a FODMAP. And then I would write down what I ate. And then I would find, okay, how did I react? And okay, maybe I shouldn't eat this food. Food was very confusing. It was very difficult. And I would be doubled over in pain after every meal due to the bloating, due to the gas. Like, it was horrible and it was painful. I also was still having psoriasis flares on my scalp and on my elbows. Luckily, that hasn't happened in a few years. And I was having trouble in school with my ADHD. I was no longer managing my ADHD with medication because of the side effects. And then with the Hashimoto's, I was not being well managed at all by my endocrinologist at the time. So it was very symptomatic. My hair was dry, skin dry, low blood pressure issues, pulse rate was low, cold, all of that. So that went on for a few years, and then March meatness happened. And I had been looking at, could I live without plants? Because when I ate bacon and eggs, when I just ate meat, I didn't have any issues, and I couldn't take it anymore. Now this is, 2018? Early 2018, March meatness. So I started reading about Stephenson and reading about organ meats with Nourishing Traditions and the Weston A. Price. And so I did it. I did March meatness, and I didn't eat any plants for 30 days, and I felt great. Now, my blood sugar was still good because I was still utilizing Dr. Bernstein's Diabetes Solution Method, so I was still able to bolus for protein. And some of the side effects of going carnivore at that time, my skin cleared up. It became a lot more moisturized. Like it wasn't dry. See, my hair has been growing like crazy since I started carnivore, and my nails. Now I've been seeing a new endocrinologist. It actually started 2 years ago. I went to a new endocrinologist, so we switched to non-desiccated thyroid, Armour thyroid. And she actually knows that I've gone carnivore, and she's fine with it. She's very pro keto, pro low carb for diabetics. So my blood work has improved. I've been on the same low dose of NDT for 2 years. My insulin needs are the same. They have been the same pretty much for the last few years. I'm only taking 10 units of insulin total. That's basal and bolus. And it's been very steady throughout the last 2 years. No psoriasis flares. My scalp is clear. My elbows are clear. My nails are growing. My hair is growing. I've got pictures where I've got really short, choppy hair, and it's like I look like some deranged pixie. Not anymore. Like, it just grows and grows and grows. And with the digestion aspect, I went from believing that I was going to be on all these supplements and digestive enzymes to not needing anything like that ever, like at all. Everything's like clockwork. And there's no pain. Like, there's something absolutely wonderful. Be able to enjoy a meal and know that, one, your blood sugar is going to be good because you know exactly how to cover it. There's no weird variables or anything like that. And you know that you're going to feel good afterwards, and you're not going to feel bloated. Your pants are going to fit after that meal. And one of the best things I think, though, not only, I mean, all of that is good, but with the ADHD, I know I'm actually probably a little scatterbrained right now, but the ADHD, I'm able to focus more and concentrate. And I actually got my associate's degree in health and fitness science this past year, and I'm working on my bachelor's in community health. And I am currently getting certified in sports nutrition with the International Sports Science Association. I'm doing that between semesters because I'm taking a semester off. And I'm able to do this all without medication. And now my dad's calling. Sorry. And I never thought I'd be able to do that. Okay. Growing up, I was always on Adderall, on Ritalin, struggling. And I always wanted to be able to focus. And I'd always say it was my, it's ADHD. Like, what can I do? And now it's no longer an issue. So things that are pretty much no longer an issue because of carnivore, because of this diet, are my digestive issues, my ADHD, my psoriasis, and my other autoimmune disorders seem to be very stable right now. And I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't trade that for the world. And what I've been eating pretty much for the past 2 years, really regularly, is eggs and bacon for breakfast. So it's my favorite. And then for lunch, I usually have 8 ounces of some sort of beef, whether it be one of those chuck eye steaks or 2 hamburger patties, also known as our meat cookies. I love that. I'll eat them cold. For dinner, a lot of times I actually do fish or beef. I've been eating more fish lately because of the vitamin D and the selenium and all the iodine. So it's all supposed to be very good for my thyroid. So I've been doing a lot of fish at dinner, but it's either 8 ounces of fish or 8 ounces of beef. And that's it. It's simple. It's easy. I know what's going to happen after I eat them. I get great results. I've got more muscle now. And my weightlifting is like really doing well. I love weightlifting. Lots of energy, steady energy. And life is really good. So, do you have any other questions?
Well, I was wondering about the FODMAP.
Oh, goodness. FODMAPs.
Low FODMAP. What does that mean exactly?
It is a group of plant material that it has certain fibers and sugars that will ferment in the gut, like onions, garlic. Trying to think of other things that really bothered me. Avocados would cripple me. I would eat an avocado and I'd be doubled over. I couldn't do it, but I was supposed to eat more fiber. So avocados, like I was trying to eat them. Spinach. Most of the foods that I found I was eating that were on the list that were supposed to be low FODMAP or high fiber and low carb also contained a lot of oxalates, and it just wasn't working well at all for me.
Yeah, so the tons of fiber also.
Yeah, make sure you're getting lots and lots of fiber. And if you can't get it in, make sure you supplement. Okay, now. And the digestion was horrible. And the only nutrients you're going to get are the things that you actually absorb. And I'll tell you, it's a little gross, but I wasn't absorbing any nutrients on a high plant diet at all. Everything was going in and coming out the same way. Sorry to be a little gross there. I'm sure a lot of us have experienced that, but I knew that I wasn't assimilating any of those vitamins or minerals. It was just going straight through me. So it was undernourishing, that's for sure, eating a lot of plants.
Yeah. So it
showed in my health.
I'm sorry?
It showed up in my health, the fact that I wasn't assimilating a lot of nutrition.
Mm-hmm. But now you're eating really nutrient-dense food, and
yeah,
for 2 years, that's right?
2 years.
Awesome.
And yeah, mainly beef, and I've just started upping my fish intake probably the last couple of months, and it's been wonderful.
Okay. Do you ever include dairy at all?
I do not include dairy. It actually is inflammatory for me. My joints will hurt and my insulin needs will actually go up. So I get that feedback very quickly whenever I do that. And so I knew to stop doing that. I will use ghee though if I want something buttery. And another thing that's really great for cooking, if you want something sort of buttery, is just get some tallow or some bacon fat and use that to cook with, or spread that on something.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great advice. So your skin looks so nice. Do you use tallow on your skin?
I do. I get a big 16-ounce jar of grass-fed tallow, and I separate it. I have one little container that's on the stove, and that's for cooking. And then I have a little container that I have upstairs, and that's for my skin.
Yeah. So do you, your exercise routine, what does that look like?
I do a push-pull legs right now. So Monday is push. So we're doing chest press, we're doing shoulders and triceps. And then Wednesdays, we do back and biceps. So we're doing a lot of rows and bicep curls. And then Friday, I do legs, and that is squat, deadlift, and hip thrusts. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do something called body flow, and it's like power yoga-esque, still has a lot of strength aspects, but I call it yoga on steroids. And then I do a lot of walking, and then I work on Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm on my feet running around all day. So I call those my cardio days.
Yeah.
But I don't have to like do anything crazy to like maintain myself anymore. So that's great.
Yeah, that is great. Have you been able to influence anyone else to change their way of eating?
Yes, most of my family, unfortunately, has insulin resistance. And since my diagnosis of type 1 diabetes and then adopting a low-carb diet and the carnivore diet, a lot of my family is very aware of how many carbohydrates they eat. My stepmother, she is a type 2 diabetic. My uncle is also, he's pre-diabetic. And my dad, luckily, he doesn't have diabetes, but when the whole family, when somebody in the family gets diabetes, the whole family has diabetes. So they actually all eat very low carb. And my sister, my twin sister, she's also a type 1 diabetic. She also eats very low carb. And my husband is also very carb aware. He is very, very athletic. So he doesn't go into ketosis, but he knows how to read labels. He looks at different food combining. He knows if he's going to have some apple, he's going to eat some cheese with it, and the apple's going to be like a small apple. So he'll do a protein, fat, carb balance because he's in the military, and so he's incredibly active. We do a lot of meat in this family, not just me, but I say like meat first, veggies last. Veggies can be a condiment. They're only an option. You want to eat them, you can eat them, but mainly get in your meat every day. I say so. I'm going to be a nutritionist. I say that. Yeah, eat your meat. Most nutrient-dense food.
Yes, so true, so true. So, like, what is your favorite kind of meats, and do you do intermittent fasting or fasting of any kind?
I do eat when you're hungry. So, like today, I ate breakfast at 4 o'clock this morning. We all get very early. We're all early risers in this house, luckily. So I ate it at 4, and I didn't eat lunch until maybe a half hour ago. I had my half pound of ground beef, cooked it up in a pan, and just ate it. So I just wait until you're hungry, not just snacky, but actually hungry, and then eat until you're full. And not full with volume, full as in like satisfied because you ate something that you needed.
Right.
A lot of people get that mistake with they eat for volume instead of eating actually for satiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's really good advice to eat when you're hungry too, especially. We tend to get where we go by the clock, or we go by, my husband or spouse is eating, so I guess I need to eat, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's good to wait till you're hungry to eat, and then eat until full, satisfied, satiated.
Yeah.
So, Stephanie, you sure have had a lot of healing. I'm so impressed to hear your story. It's incredible. So have all of your ailments resolved now?
I think everything is very steady right now. I wouldn't say anything's super resolved. I'll most likely always have type 1 diabetes. I've seen stories on MeatRx about people with Hashimoto's going into remission, and I would love that to happen. I'm not going to say that it will, though, but I would love to see it happen. The psoriasis, it's been over 2 years since I've had any flares on my scalp. So I'm really hoping that means that it's in remission. And because there's some things with psoriasis, it's autoimmune. You can end up with joint issues and all sorts of things. So if I've prevented that simply by eating a low inflammatory diet and feeding my body what it needs, like that's ecstatic. And just the way I feel, even if nothing would have, been resolved, just the way I feel, it's very worth it.
Mhm.
It's very worth it. It makes life worth it.
Yeah.
No, not being in discomfort and pain all the time.
Right. So diabetes, I've heard if you eat like higher fat, that really helps with the blood sugar levels. Have you done that type of thing where you tried higher fats?
In the beginning, I actually did try a higher fat keto. I followed an internet person who seemed to be an expert, and I followed high fat keto and moderate protein. That did not work well for me. I lowered my insulin needs, but I became skinny fat, and my body fat percentage went up, and I wasn't maintaining my muscle. And so I started following Dr. Bernstein, where fat comes with the protein. So that's why I eat bacon and eggs. Those are fatty foods. And the 85% lean hamburger or chuck eye steaks or some ribeye or skin on chicken thighs, I didn't really add too much fat. And my body fat percentage changed. I gained a lot more muscle. So I do a higher protein approach. And you need protein for growth. And that's something that I want to do. I want to build my body up. I don't need to be skinny. I need to be muscular. I need to keep that muscle tone for when I get older, so that way I can take care of myself. And plus, more muscle means better insulin sensitivity. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's important. So I'm a more high protein person. I've seen it work for some other people, but yeah, it did not work for me.
Yeah. So but you have minimal amounts of insulin that you have to take. So it's really
Yes, I call it my physiological needed insulin. It's not something because I'm covering a high carb dessert or some sort of carbohydrate that's very high in carb. This is exactly what I need to cover what I need. No more, no less. So you don't go super high and you don't go super low, and you get those nice flat lines.
awesome. Yeah, that's great. I know I've heard many diabetics, type 1 and type 2, have really benefited from going carnivore.
Oh, yes.
So I thank you so much, Stephanie, for everything you're sharing with everyone. Your after pictures with your muscles and all looks really good. You did really good on your pictures.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, we love having you, and I know this will help so many people because people love listening to success stories on this way of eating. And so do you think you'll continue on with carnivore?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm living the dream. I used to joke around about eating cheeseburgers every day. I mean, now I don't eat the dairy, but I get to eat my favorite foods every day. I mean, who wouldn't love to eat a steak every day? That's other people's cheat meal, and that's my dinner. Like, it's great.
Yeah, it is. So do you ever try other ruminant animals like elk or lamb or?
Oh, yes, lamb. I love lamb. What else? Bison. Bison's delicious. I'd like to get some deer meat this year, but I need to find who is hunting in my area, who I know. Pretty much, yeah, I like pretty much anything with the 4 legs, I guess. If it's got multiple stomachs, I'm probably going to eat it.
Yeah, 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 it's great tasting food for sure.
Yes. And I always say, was it on the cave walls? You don't see anybody drawing pictures of broccoli. You know, it's all ruminant animals and rhinoceri and mastodons.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's funny, but thank you so much, Stephanie, and I appreciate it and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you in the community.
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.